Hey guys, welcome to today's leadership podcast. I'm super excited to wrap this up. We've been talking about cell groups, and today is part 6, and we will bring this to a close as we talk about creativity today. And so we've been going through our handbook, page 11, looking at the five keys to the 5 C's, and today we're going to wrap that up talking about creativity, and I think this is going to be an amazing capstone to everything we've been talking about when it comes to how do we shepherd and pastor students, and how do we help them begin to own their faith. And so today we're going to talk about creativity, and it's something I think we need to address, we need to talk about. And so we have defined creativity in your handbook as this: using your passions to build momentum in your group, using your passions to build momentum in your group. Now, within that statement is 3 words that I really want to unpack for us today. And so that first one is passions, okay? Passions. This is what I want to say about passions. If you aren't passionate about what you're doing, there's probably a really good chance that the students around you, the students that you're leading, aren't going to become passionate either. You see, this is what I believe. God has not only given you and I gifts, talents, abilities, but He's also given you and I passions that are unique to you and I. And so I believe that you can use your passions to not only inspire those around you, which is what we would want with these students. We want to model a passionate life for Christ, right? That's part of striving for holiness that you and I have the opportunity to be able to instill and model for these students. But your passions coming to the front are not only going to inspire those around you, but you as a leader, honestly, I think as you dive into your passions and you explore your passions and you operate within the boundaries of your passions, you're going to fuel yourself. You're going to find yourself more filled up. Now, why is that? Well, let's look at the opposite. There is seriously nothing more draining than being forced to do something you absolutely hate. I hate doing admin work here at the office. I loathe it. I hate having to go through and track the receipts and take care of all that stuff, but it has to get done, right? But honestly, that drains me. But having meetings and like meeting with people and strategizing and being able to talk about some of that stuff, man, that really makes me, that fuels me up. That gets me fired up. And so I love Mondays because I get to meet with Pastor Ken at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5 every single Monday. And I always leave the office Monday fired up about the rest of the week. And that's because I'm passionate about that. That fuels me up. That fires me up. It engages me. And I hope that helps me live a life that's inspiring to those around me. But most importantly, it fuels me up. It fills me up. And so as you operate within your cell groups, make sure what you're doing is something that you're passionate about. Do your passions need to match that of the students? Absolutely. And I think that's what's cool about cell groups. Those will match up. You will have students in your group who are passionate about some of the things that you're passionate about. Will that be, sometimes you go and do an event or go do something that you're not totally passionate about, but the students are? Absolutely. But there are things you can do within a cell group that you are passionate about. Maybe you're more passionate about prayer than teaching. Well, spend more time praying than doing teaching. Maybe you're more passionate about teaching than praying. Teach more than you pray. Do what fills you up and fuels you, because that's what's going to inspire you, and that's what's going to inspire the students you're leading. Passion. The second word I want to highlight to you is that word build. Use your passions to build. Okay, this is why I highlight this word. As we've been going through our life journals, we've been looking at the Old Testament. Well, it just kind of came to my mind this morning. As you read in Exodus 31, God calls 2 people, Bezalel, I always get that name wrong, and Oholiab. And he calls them, imparts his spirit onto them, and they are tasked with building the tabernacle. And what's interesting is God gave them the gift of creativity to build his house that he would ultimately dwell in, thus the tabernacle, right? But I find that interesting that God gave them his spirit and he made them, if you read in the NLT, you know, they uses this word, a skilled craftsman. It even goes on to say that that they are master craftsmen, but that God has equipped them with certain creativity, and it goes through and gives all the things that they're skilled in. But as you go through and read, you know, how the building took place and the process and what those things must have looked like, those were some creative pieces of furniture, or the ark, or the lampstand. I mean, everything was made of solid gold. I mean, it was intricate, it was detailed, and it was designed creatively. But who gave them the ability to be creative? It was God. And so this is how I want you to view your role as a cell group leader, okay? This is what I wrote down. View your role as a cell group leader as a master craftsman who is building God's house, okay? As you meet with students, you are furthering his kingdom. You are furthering his house, okay? So view yourself as a master craftsman. God has equipped you with the skill set necessary to creatively build his house. Come on, God wants you to use your creative talents and your creative abilities to build his house. Now you might be saying, you know, I'm not creative. Well, we're gonna address that here in a second. You believe that. The third word I want to highlight real quick is momentum. Momentum. Use your passions to build momentum. I think as you get passionate about what you're doing and you get creative with it, you are going to naturally build momentum. And we all know the laws of physics, that an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Thus, an object with momentum continues that momentum. I think as you take care of passions and building, momentum is going to naturally follow. And so that begs the question, well, what if we're not building momentum in our groups? What if we're not growing numerically? Our students are not growing spiritually? Then I would challenge you with this. Check the way you're leading the group. Maybe you need to change your approach. Maybe you need to get creative. Maybe you need to get creative. Change your approach. Begin to ask students, what would you like to see done in this group? Maybe take a reflection upon yourself. What am I passionate about? How can I be creative? How is God calling me to lead this group? Because this is what I think. I don't think it's a good excuse to say I'm not creative. I think that's a lazy statement. I think that's a statement that mocks God, because I think that what that says is I'm unwilling to put forth the effort or put forth the time to make this meaningful. You look at any organization, the best leaders are always the ones who go above and beyond what is required and or asked of them. And the reality is that within the scope of church, we serve a God who is the source of all creativity. He gave Bezalel, however you say his name, and Oholiab, the ability to be creative, to build his house. The promise is true for you and I today. The world does creative well. Will we ever match them? I think we can. Should we? I think we got to make sure our content matches the context. You know, content's always got to be more important than context. But does that mean we can't create a creative context? Absolutely not. God is a creative God. And so if that's true and you have passions, I honestly believe that sounds like an amazing combo to impact this generation. With God's source of creativity and your passions, you can impact this generation. Thank you for watching these leadership videos. I hope as we've gone through talking about cell groups, you have been encouraged. You feel equipped to go out there and do some damage for this generation as we create in them a hunger for God and to strive for holiness. Love you guys. I appreciate everything you do. Peace.